Hi everybody. This will be a walkthrough of basic code tracing for questions 4 and 5 from the midterm study packet. I'm just going to review the technique that I recommended that you use, and problem 5 will show you why that's important, because it's particularly tricky to think about in any other way. Alright, so here's my recommendation. Whenever you see new variables getting created, you create little boxes that represent the values for those variables. So I see I've got A, B, C, D. All right, so when you start, all of them start out at 0 because primitive numbers are always initialized to 0. All right, so then we assign 24 to variable A, so I'll cross out 0 and write 24. And I think a good practice is to check off each line as you go so that you can keep track of where you are. Okay, so on this line, I take A, which is 24, and I subtract 20, so that gives me 4, and I save that into B. Okay, so B, I'll cross out and I'll write 4. Now, since B is 4, B times B is 4 times 4, which is 16, and I save that back inside B. So now B is 16, and I'm done with this line. A, which is 24, minus B, which is 16, is 8, and that gets assigned to C. So I'll cross that out and write 8. And then I assign 1 to A. So now A gets replaced by 1. So what will the value of A, B, C, and D be after the code runs? A is 1, B is 16, C is 8, D is 0. All right, let's do problem 5, and I'll show you why this is so important to be very careful and go step by step. So here I've got A gets initialized as 2, B gets initialized as 3, and T gets no initialization, so it starts out at 0. All right, so I've done this line and this line. So remember, equal sign means take what's on the right, save it inside what's on the left. So I'm saving the A value inside T. So that means T now becomes 2. All right, now I'm taking the B value and I'm saving it over top of A. So I'm saving B, 3, over top of A. All right, so I'm done with that line. Now I'm taking the value inside T, and I'm saving it inside B. So here's T, I'm saving it inside B, and now I'm done. So the important thing that happened here, well, all right, so it says what are the values of A and B when the code finishes running? So A is 3, B is 2. Say in a sentence of normal English what the last 3 lines of this code are doing. So what are these 3 lines about? So step by step, what they're doing is A gets saved into T, B gets saved into A, T gets saved into B. But that's not very enlightening. If I look at the output, it looks like what happened was A started out as 2, and B started out as 3, and the values swapped. See how 2 ended up in B and 3 ended up in A? So if I want to sort of step back and say, like, what's the overall purpose of those 3 lines of code? It looks like the value is to it looks like the purpose is to swap the values inside of those 2 variables. All right, let's do one more. Let's do 6. So I got A, B, C. A is 9, B is -7, C is 25. That's here, here, and here. So I'm done with that line. A plus B, so 9 plus -7 gives me 2, and that gets saved into A. So now A is 2. All right, if A is less than 0, so I'm looking at A is 2, so that's not true, so I don't do any of these lines, because the if statement wasn't true. So now I have A equals A plus B, so A is 2 plus B is -7, so when I add those together, I get -5, which gets stored inside A. So now if A is less than 0, now that's true because A is -5. So I multiply C by -1, so that means C ends up as -25, and now I'm done. So that's it. Okay, I didn't realize 7 was on this page, so really, last one. This time, so I was looking up here, and I was looking like where A and B, but it says here, if A is 9, B is -7, and C is 25 before the code starts. All right, so let's do this. So I've got A, B, C. They are 9, -7, and 25. What will the values be when the code finishes running? Okay, so let's trace it. So a plus b gives me 2. So I save that back into a. So now a is 2. If a is less than 0, it is not. So I don't do any of these any of the statements inside this if. So now, again, I add a and b. So I have 2 plus -7 gives me -5. So that gets saved into a. So now a is -5. If a is less than 0, which it is, so this is just the same as problem 6, it looks like. So these are the values that I end up getting. But now in part B, I think it's going to ask something different. So so for part B, what if we have A, B, C as 9, -11, and 25? All right, so let's do it again. So in this case, A plus B, 9 minus 11, so that gives us -2. So now -2 gets assigned to A. So if A is less than 0, so that's true now because A is -2. So then I'll multiply C by -1 and save it back into C. So now C is -25. And I'll assign 5 to B. All right? So now I'll do A plus B. So 5 plus -2 is 3. So that gets assigned to A. So now A is 3. And now it says if A is less than 0, which it's not. So we skip that, and now we're done. So this is what the values end up as for part B. Okay, I hope this was helpful.